Welcome to Amatale's lab, where lying wives and sneaky girlfriends finally get exposed. From girls' trips that never happen to coworkers who are a little too friendly, we break down every red flag, messy receipt, and suspicious text with humor, shock, and just a little bit of petty. Expect wild stories, dramatic reactions, and satisfying karma as the truth comes crashing through the door. If you love relationship tea, plot twists, and seeing players get played, this channel is your new home. Every single chaotic, jaw-dropping, binge-worthy episode. Hit subscribe and never miss a fresh dose of exposed cheating. Don't forget to check our previous stories. Let's get into it. Malik Harris always said his wife, Alyssa, was the one person on earth he would bet his life on. To him, she was loyalty wrapped in a warm smile, the woman who knew his fears and still chose him. When people joked that anyone can cheat, he just laughed and shook his head. Not Alyssa, he would say. She is different. His coworkers, his cousins, even his mother warned him to never put anyone on that kind of pedestal. Malik just smiled, convinced that love like theirs was untouchable, unable to see the storm gathering quietly right in front of him. Malik met Alyssa at a charity event in Atlanta, where he volunteered to set up computers for a youth program. She was a nurse in scrubs, tired from a double shift but still radiant, still laughing with kids who clung to her like she hung the moon. Their first conversation flowed like they had known each other for years. Within 2 years they were married, building a life in a small townhouse on the outskirts of the city, both determined to rise. Malik worked in IT project management. Alyssa picked up extra shifts, and together they dreamed of a bigger home. Alyssa was magnetic. People were drawn to her loud laugh, her quick wit, and the way she could make anyone feel important. At parties, Malik watched her talk and dance, and thought he was the luckiest man alive. She would loop her arm through his, kiss his cheek, and introduce him proudly as my husband, Malik. Every compliment she received only strengthened his belief that he had married an angel. If a man looked at her too long, Malik saw it as a testament to her beauty, never as a potential threat. His trust was not cautious. It was absolute. The first warning came from his best friend, Terrence, after a cookout one summer. Alyssa had spent most of the afternoon chatting with their neighbor, a handsome divorced man named Corey, laughing a little too hard at his jokes, touching his arm as if they shared a private language. Later, when everyone left, Terrence pulled Malik aside. He said, gently, "Bro, I'm not saying she is doing anything, but watch that neighbor. He looks at her too long." Malik's face hardened. "Alyssa would never disrespect our marriage like that," he said sharply. Terrence raised his hands, backing off silently. A few weeks later, Malik noticed Alyssa's phone lighting up late at night. She would glance at it, smile, and type quickly before turning it face down on the couch. When he teased her about her secret admirer, she laughed and said it was a group chat from work. "These nurses are clowns," she joked. "You know I only have eyes for you." Malik believed her instantly. When his sister mentioned seeing Alyssa walking into a coffee shop with a man who did not look like a coworker, Malik became defensive, accusing his sister of being jealous and judgmental. Money started slipping away without explanation. Malik noticed that their joint account was constantly low, even though he was meticulous with budgeting. Alyssa always had an answer. "I paid some of Mom's medical bills," she'd say one month. "The car needed repairs," another. If he asked for receipts, Alyssa would look offended, her eyes filling with hurt. "You do not trust me," she would whisper. Instantly, guilt washed over him. He would apologize, hold her hands, and reassure her that he trusted her completely. He never saw the designer cologne on their credit card, a brand he did not wear. Over time, the people who questioned Alyssa quietly disappeared from Malik's daily life. His sister stopped visiting as much after he accused her of trying to ruin his marriage. His mother kept her concerns to herself, tired of the arguments. Even Terrence pulled back, saying he did not want to be the villain in Malik's love story. Alyssa noticed the distance and used it. "Your family never liked me," she murmured one night. "I am glad you choose us instead of their negativity." Malik felt proud of himself for defending his wife, not realizing he was being carefully isolated. Alyssa's schedule grew more unpredictable. She started picking up more night shifts, coming home exhausted just before dawn, the scent of unfamiliar cologne mixed with her perfume. When Malik commented on it, she laughed it off, saying the hospital halls smelled like every brand under the sun. Once, she came home with her hair and makeup done, claiming a coworker's birthday had turned into a small celebration after their shift. Malik wanted to ask why she needed red lipstick for a night in the ER, but one look at her tired eyes made him swallow his doubts and hug her. The neighbor, Corey, always seemed to be around when Alyssa was outside. Malik would see them talking in the parking lot, too close, lingering too long over harmless topics. When a different neighbor joked about Corey being too friendly with married women, Malik grew angry. He confronted the neighbor instead of Alyssa, demanding he never spread such foolish rumors again. At home, he proudly told Alyssa that he handled it. She wrapped her arms around his neck, kissed him deeply, and whispered, "Thank you for always protecting me." He felt like a hero, never suspecting that he was shielding a lie. One Saturday, Malik finally asked the question that had been simmering beneath the surface. "Babe, has anyone ever crossed the line with you?" he asked, trying to sound casual. Alyssa froze, then narrowed her eyes as if deeply offended. "So now I'm the kind of woman men cross lines with," she snapped. She reminded him of all the times she had stayed up late when he was sick, how she supported his career shifts, how she loved him when he had nothing. By the end of the conversation, Malik was apologizing, promising never to insult her loyalty again. Behind Malik's back, Alyssa was building a double life. The extra money she claimed went to bills and repairs was being funneled into hotel rooms, expensive dinners, and gifts for Corey. A watch, new sneakers, even paying his overdue car note. She told Corey that Malik was controlling, cheap, and emotionally distant, painting herself as a trapped woman in a cold marriage. Corey, flattered and eager, accepted her version of the story without question. Alyssa enjoyed the attention, the thrill of the secret, and the ability to take from Malik while convincing him she was sacrificing for their future. Corey was the kind of man who loved adrenaline more than stability. He thrived on the excitement of sneaking around, of playing the role of rescuer for a married woman. When Alyssa cried about Malik's unreasonable questions, Corey would pull her close and say, "You deserve better. If you were with me, you would not have to explain anything." Alyssa let those words sink in, but she knew she was not leaving Malik yet. Malik provided the steady paycheck, the health insurance, the home. Corey provided the thrill. In Alyssa's mind, she saw no reason she could not have both. The moment karma began its slow return was deceptively ordinary. Alyssa claimed she was attending a weekend nursing conference in another city, insisting it would help her earn extra certifications and a raise. Malik was proud of her ambition and paid for the hotel, registration, and travel. In reality, Alyssa and Corey planned a romantic getaway at a luxury hotel downtown, nowhere near any conference center. Alyssa packed her professional outfits on top, hiding date-night dresses beneath them, confident that Malik would never look deeper. She kissed him goodbye in their driveway, leaving him with a smile and a lie. That same weekend, a fire alarm malfunction triggered a full evacuation at Alyssa's hotel. Local news channels picked up the story because it was a high-end property downtown. A crew showed up to film guests standing outside late at night, some in business clothes, others in casual wear, and a few clearly caught off guard. One station decided to do a light-hearted human interest segment, capturing close-up shots of couples wrapped in blankets, laughing about the inconvenience. In the middle of those clips, Alyssa stood with Corey's arm around her waist, laughing warmly, wearing a dress Malik had never seen. Malik did not see the footage immediately. He was at home cleaning, feeling grateful for a wife who worked so hard for their future. His mother, however, saw it while watching the evening news. She recognized Alyssa instantly and froze when she saw her lean into Corey, resting her head on his shoulder. She noticed the intimacy, the way they looked at each other like they were the only two people in the world. Heart pounding, she recorded the clip on her phone and called Malik, her hands shaking, torn between protecting her son and not wanting to hurt him. When his mother asked him to come over, Malik assumed she wanted help with a simple errand. Instead, she sat him down, handed him her phone, and said quietly, "Baby, I need you to watch this with an open mind." Malik saw the news footage and at first tried to convince himself it was someone who only looked like Alyssa. Then the camera zoomed slightly, and there was no mistaking her face, her laugh, the way she clung to Corey. Malik's chest tightened. For a long moment, he could not speak. His faith collided violently with undeniable evidence. The next few hours were a war inside Malik's mind. He remembered every time someone warned him, every moment he defended Alyssa, every argument he started with the people who loved him. He remembered their dwindling bank account, the late-night texts, the neighbor's uneasy jokes, his sister's coffee shop sighting. All the pieces that never made sense began locking together, forming a picture he had been too in love to see. Malik cried in his car alone, grief and rage twisting inside him. For the first time, he whispered aloud, "I've been blind," and it felt like a confession. Malik could have driven to the hotel, could have confronted them in the lobby, could have created a scene worthy of gossip. But something in him shifted. Blind defense had gotten him here. Reckless reaction would only deepen the wounds. He drove home instead, sat at their dining table, and opened his laptop. With hands that trembled slightly, he logged into their bank account, scrolling through statements he had ignored. He saw the recurring hotel charges, restaurant bills, random cash withdrawals, and purchases at stores he did not recognize. Every line item was another crack in the illusion. He moved to her email and cloud account, using passwords he knew by heart. The truth flooded his screen. Hotel confirmations sent to a secret email, love messages between Alyssa and Corey, photos of them together in restaurants, selfies in their bedroom when Malik was working late. One message in particular shattered him. Alyssa complaining about how boring Malik was, how she stayed only because the marriage was comfortable and convenient. She wrote that Malik would never suspect a thing because he worships the ground I walk on. Malik stared at those words, feeling both broken and suddenly awake. Over the next few days, Malik forced himself to act normally while Alyssa was on her conference trip. He responded to her texts with warmth, even as his heart felt numb. When she sent pictures of random hotel hallways, clearly pulled from the internet, he replied with encouragement. Meanwhile, he contacted a divorce attorney recommended by his cousin, quietly gathering legal advice. The lawyer listened to Malik's story, looked at the evidence, and said, "You have more than enough. The question is not whether you can leave. It is how you want to leave." Malik realized this was his chance to reclaim control. Together, Malik and the attorney created a careful plan. Malik moved his direct deposit into a protected individual account, leaving just enough in the joint account to avoid suspicion. He closed a credit card Alyssa frequently used and opened another in his name only. He transferred the house title into a living trust with himself as trustee and their 8-year-old daughter, Naomi, as beneficiary, on his lawyer's advice. He updated his will, ensuring Alyssa's name was removed from anything she could exploit. At every step, Malik felt his old blind love being replaced by something clearer, self-respect. Alyssa returned home from her conference glowing, energized, and unusually affectionate. She hugged Malik tightly, kissed him, and told him how much she had missed him. Malik hugged her back, but his eyes were different. She noticed something in his stare and asked, half joking, "What? Do I look tired?" He smiled calmly and said, "You look happy. That is good." Inside, his pain burned quietly, but he refused to show it. He needed her to feel safe, unexposed, until everything was in place. For the first time, he was no longer the one standing unprotected in their marriage. A week later, Malik suggested they host a small family brunch on a Sunday to celebrate Alyssa's hard work and dedication. She lit up at the idea of being publicly praised, eager to maintain her image as a devoted wife and mother. Invitations went out to his mother, his sister, Terrence, and a few close cousins. Malik's mother understood more than anyone else what was really happening, but she followed his lead, saying nothing. Alyssa cleaned the house obsessively, cooked her best dishes, and wore a soft yellow dress, playing the role she had perfected, the beloved wife. Midway through brunch, Malik stood up to make a toast. He spoke gently about trust, about love, about how easy it is to put someone on a pedestal so high that you cannot see what they are doing beneath it. Alyssa smiled nervously, not quite understanding his tone. Then Malik picked up the remote and turned on the television. On the screen, he played the news clip his mother had saved, the evacuation outside the downtown hotel, Alyssa leaning into Corey, laughing. The room fell silent. Alyssa's fork clattered against her plate as her face drained of color, her carefully curated world cracking. Malik did not yell. His voice was steady, almost heartbreakingly calm, as he explained what everyone was seeing. He detailed the hotel charges, the messages, the lies about conferences and overtime shifts. Familiar faces around the table watched in stunned disbelief, some fighting tears for Malik, others shaking their heads in anger at Alyssa. When she attempted to speak, to spin a story about misunderstanding, Malik held up his hand. "No more," he said quietly. "I defended you against everyone. I called them liars while you turned me into a joke. I will not do that to myself anymore." In front of everyone, Malik pulled a neatly folded envelope from his pocket and placed it on the table in front of Alyssa. "These are divorce papers," he said, "already reviewed and prepared. I will not force you to sign today, but know that I am done living in blindness." Alyssa's eyes flooded with tears. She reached for him, sobbing, insisting it was just a mistake, that she never meant to hurt him. For the first time, Malik did not bend to her tears. The man who once rushed to comfort her now watched with a mix of grief and resolve. After brunch ended and everyone left, Alyssa exploded in anger, accusing Malik of humiliating her. She tried to regain control, demanding access to accounts, threatening to take half of everything. Malik listened, then calmly explained the reality. The house, he told her, was now legally protected in a trust for Naomi. The majority of their savings was in his individual account, secured under his attorney's guidance. The credit cards she relied on were closed. He was prepared to offer a fair settlement, but she would not be allowed to profit from years of deceit and disrespect. Over the next few weeks, Alyssa oscillated between rage, tears, and manipulation. She sent Malik long, emotional messages late at night, reminding him of their early days together, of their vows, of the life they built. She blamed stress, burnout, and loneliness. She insisted Corey meant nothing, that she was just lost. Malik read every message with a heavy heart, but he did not reply. He attended every legal meeting, signed every document, and showed up for Naomi with more focus than he ever had before. His love had once blinded him. Now his love for himself and his daughter guided him. The divorce was finalized quietly, without dramatic court scenes or public fights. Alyssa eventually moved into a small apartment across town, her glamorous image dimmed by the weight of consequences. Corey, who had enjoyed the thrill but not the responsibility, gradually pulled away from her. Malik remained in the house with Naomi, filling it with a different kind of peace. He went to therapy, unpacking the ways he had ignored his own instincts, learning that trust without boundaries is not love but self-abandonment. Slowly, the raw ache in his chest settled into something more bearable, more honest. Months later, Malik stood in the same kitchen where he once defended Alyssa against every doubt. Sunlight streamed through the window as Naomi colored at the table, humming to herself. Malik watched her and felt gratitude that she would grow up, seeing her father choose dignity over denial. He no longer spoke of Alyssa with hatred, only with a quiet acknowledgement of the truth. Love should not blind you, he thought. It should help you see better. Karma had exposed Alyssa's betrayal, but it had also exposed Malik's own neglect of his intuition. This time, he chose himself. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.